Welcome to another exciting show with me. This is Vance here, your host for Kopi with Vance. That's right. So, you know what? Every Wednesday, 9 p.m., it's Kopi with Vance. And yeah, I'm always excited for this podcast to be telecast and broadcast as well. So, we are live right now in LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and also Spotify as well. So, you can also hear these podcasts later part if you're busy, if you're driving. You can also put it into your Spotify and listen. And today's podcast is we have, of course, every week we have a guest coming on board, Kopi Events, and we will talk a little bit more on the topic itself, of course. But today with me is Ganesh Ramanathan, and Ganesh is a lawyer by profession and called to the Singapore bar at the age of 29. He has 28 years of legal experience as a litigator in civil cases as well as other areas of practice. So, in the basic introduction, you already know we're having a lawyer on board. But Ganesh's passion is actually in sports. And of course, he's a full time lawyer as well. And now, with the sport of lawn bowls, Ganesh picked up lawn bowls at the age of 46 and enjoys playing it. From being a regular player and a passionate advocate of the sport, he has been an ambassador of it by serving on the committees and in the NSAs. He served in the various roles in the bowls section committee at Singapore Cricket Club for 7 years. He has definitely have so many years of experience. He's the Honorable Secretary of Bowls Singapore from 2020 to 2022. He was then elected into the Management Committee of the Lawn Bowls Association of the Disabled in September 2022 and was nominated to serve as the Vice President of it from July 2023 for the remaining year of his 2 years term. So without a further to go through this podcast with me. All right. It's always better to have a guest on board. So let's pull Ganesh. Hi, Ganesh.
Hi, Vance.
Thank you for joining me at Kopi with Vance. Have you stand by your Kopi with you already?
Yes, I have.
Very good. Okay. So Ganesh, thank you. I know I did a bit of your introduction, but can you also please do a very short briefly about yourself so that people know who we are talking to us today?
Sure. Thank you for the nice introduction. Briefly, well, I'm born in 1965. I went to Anglo-Chinese Primary School, Anglo-Chinese Secondary School, went to Swiss Cottage Pre-U Center. Um, During my academic years, the only thing I had an A1 for was for ECA. At that time, it was known as ECA. Now it's known as CCA. So as you can see, where my my passion actually lies in sports and others. And then I studied law, graduated, got married, and that's the first 28 years of my life in 20 seconds.
So that's a very short, briefly about yourself. Thank you, Ganesh. I know, Ganesh, we are going to talk today. Of course, if you look at our title itself, interview with a lawyer who is an advocate for sports. And of course, today we are going to talk all about lawn bowls and, of course, how you got involved and so forth. But before we even jump into this today's topic, but I'm just going to ask, maybe it can be a little misconception here in Singapore or even some other countries. I'm not sure. You have to highlight that to us and to our viewers. People, when come to loan balls, people think that, hey, this is for people who are above 60, 70 and not for the not so young. Can you please talk a little bit of that before we jump even the topics as well?
Okay, I think I can understand why that thinking comes about, because it is actually a low impact sport. So it's a bit slow. It's not so active. It's nothing like squash and all that where you really sweat it out in about 10 minutes of play. This is a slow game, but it has sufficient body movements. So because of the slowness, the pace, although it actually takes 2 hours to complete a game, I suppose the perception comes in that, oh, okay, this is a slow game, so it's for older people, for people who are not so active. But it's not entirely true, because it's a low impact, maybe slow paced game, but it's actually very strategic. There's a lot of thinking involved,
Right.
strategy, how do you position your bowls, and how do you deliver your bowl to reach closest to the jack. So that idea, unfortunately, yes, it's there. Perhaps, maybe, to be honest, even for me at the beginning, it may have been there, because I have been a member of the cricket club since 1995,
Right.
but I picked up bowls in 2010. I've seen them play, and I also probably thought, hey, this is something I can do later in my life. But uh, maybe that's a perception that people generally have, but it certainly is not.
Thank you for that, Ganesh. And of course, we're going to engage Ganesh with a lot of questions. And viewers also who are watching this right now or hearing this, please do share and like as well. Because if you press a share button, it will go to your friends and families. And a lot of people can tune in live with Ganesh Ramanathan together with me, Kopi Events. And of course, today we are going to talk a little bit more on the sport of lawn bowls. And Ganesh, can we talk a little bit of the game? You mentioned 2 hours. Of course, comparison to bowling, bowling you just come in, throw and go off. I have also observed the game of the lawn bowls. It requires a little bit more. It's not just impact, right? It's a lot of, I seen a few times, even you also, like, talking to the bowls. I don't know what you're doing. You're looking far, you're looking, is it a speed, distance? Is it lots of concentration? What exactly is happening there when you are holding onto the bowls?
Okay, basically the sport of lawn bowls is basically about, okay, you play in a rink. A rink is about 4 to 5 meters in width and about 30 meters in length. So
Right.
you center the mat, right? You play in the center, then you roll the jack to the other end, and then you center the jack where it lands, maybe let's say 29 meters. So then the whole idea is to roll your bowl as close to the jack as possible, right? And when you play against an opponent in a singles, pairs, and whatever combination, your bowl at the end of your number of rows that you have, because in singles, each player has 4 bowls. You roll 4 bowls each end. So the whole idea is to see how many of your bowls land closest to the jack as compared to your opponents. So that's the whole idea. And because the bowls do not travel in a straight line, it goes in a curve. So you have to pay attention to the angle that you take and how
Right.
much weight you are going to use, because the jack doesn't always end up in 29 meters. Sometimes people play it shorter at 24 meters.
Right.
So your length varies, so you have to adjust. So that's where you have to pay attention and adjust. Well, you have got 4 bowls in a singles game. The
Mm.
first one goes longer than necessary. Well, you adjust it with your second one, with the third one, and
Right.
with your fourth one. Yeah.
I'm going to hold you here for a while, Ganesh. I'm getting into more like what's going to happen the next 30 seconds. Is that right? You got to predict. Is it? Can I use the word predict, or is it
Plan.
you are going to? How is it works?
You plan, you strategize, because okay, so you roll, then your opponent rolls, so you see where the opponent's bowl has landed, right? If it's closer to the jack than yours, then you've got to figure out how are you going to come in, how are you going to deliver your bowl to reach the to bring your bowl closer to the jack than his. Whether are you going to touch his bowl and move it away, or push your own bowl that's already somewhere at the head there closer to the jack. So these are
Right.
things that you think about before you deliver the next bowl.
All right, we're going to engage more about the game in a while. For viewers who are just coming in, we are live in LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube with Ganesh Ramanathan, and we are going to talk all about lawn of bowls today. And of course, if you're watching this, please do share and like so that it can reach out to more people who can understand about this game. And of course, Ganesh will give us later more details where people can come and engage and come and play. And I'm hearing a lot of stuff or like focus, concentration, so and so forth. So we are going to go deeper into that. But before that, I'm going to divert Ganesh into his work life, right? Work life balance. Yeah, Ganesh, as a lawyer, I know we all know, no, lawyer is like you guys are good at talking, right? Very good at talking, right? Good at I'm not sure if I can debate with you, but I'll try. Such a long hours and family and the game. Does this game allows you to focus for yourself? I mean, apart from work life. Now we are going to go for the balance. Does the balance happens for you?
No, actually, it is necessary because work is actually stressful. So for me, playing bowls actually is a stress
Oh.
reliever. It
Mhm.
relieves. So I would love to play it like at least 3 4 times a week. But of course, sometimes I used to earlier, but now it would be lovely to play at least one weekday and one weekend. So work is always. I mean, I suppose whatever work you do, most of the work, it's going to be quite stressful. So you need some kind of a activity, sports, hobby. So for me, it is sports. And at this age, since the age of 46, I've been playing bowls. So for me,
Mhm.
that is an outlet.
Right.
Um, we can say that's a so-called work-life balance.
So you always have this in your principles, your work, your family, and the game that you are taking part. It's a kind of a de-stress that you talked about. But I think also when you mention about it's really what's going to happen the next 30 seconds, because I watched the game, not for the full 2 hour, of course, maybe for the first 10 minutes. I know some guys and girls who are in the lawn, and they are like so focused, pretty much it's very close to the what you mentioned, how the accuracy happens. Is it the strength, or is it your amount of, the distance that you want that the balls to be in there, right? How is that? Is it more about your strength that we are talking about here?
No, actually, it's not. Actually, of course, it takes a lot of practice. Once you start, definitely your balls are going to go all over the place. It's going to go.
Right.
You're going to not know how much of strength to use. Whether um, you may think, okay, the ball is about 1 to 1.5 kg each. You may think the ball 29 meters, you can just roll it and it'll
Hmm.
go there. But
Hmm.
no. So as when you start,
Right.
usually you're going to end up half the distance. It's going to be short.
Right.
So you gotta then you get used to it. Yeah, whoever's guiding
Mhm.
you will tell you, okay, look, you swing your arm in such a way, use a bit more force to
Mhm.
reach it. Then you start to use too much force, it'll end up in the ditch, which
Right.
means or
Mm.
beyond where the jack is. So
Right.
it's a matter of practice. So it takes definitely a few months at least to get the hang of
Right.
it, because you're actually paying attention to two things, not just one is the curve, how much of curve you should take, right? And the second one is how much of force you should use.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
The shorter the distance, the less force you use. The longer
Right.
the distance, like 29 like there's a different force you use for 23 meters and 29
Mm.
meters or 30 meters.
Right.
So that's why you pay attention. You see what has happened to the previous bowl. Where has it
Right.
ended up? Then you adjust it. Where's your opponent's bowl ended up, and then you adjust accordingly. So you don't need much force actually. It's like a pendulum swing. It's a question of how you swing and deliver. So
Right.
it's not it's quite low impact. You don't need
Right.
is too much force. Nothing like a squash swing or
Mhm.
a tennis
Mhm.
swing and all that. Uh,
And just for out of curiosity, how much weight is the bowls here we are talking about? What is the
about
weight?
one. Okay, so there are sizes, various sizes, and basically the 0 to size 5 could be more, but generally the
Right.
weight is about 1 to 1.5 kilograms.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, yeah. So a
Mm.
size 4 bowl like mine could be just less than 1.5 kilograms each.
1 kilogram. Okay.
One and
And
a half kilo.
Ganesh, I also came to know that it is not something like a ball that we are talking about, right? Like not just like a tennis ball. The long poles is it a curve in such a way that it doesn't go straight? Is that right?
No, it's actually it's not a circular bowl. It's a bowl, but
Okay.
inside of it, the mechanism of it is
Hmm.
it is weighted on one side, so it's got a so-called bias. So you cannot
Right.
roll it. Okay, that ball that you use probably was a tennis ball. That
Right.
jack is a circular a ball that goes straight, but your
Right.
bowl has to go in an angle. It has to go in a curve. You have to
Hmm.
aim at either in a 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock direction for it to reach 12 o'clock, or if you go the other way, you aim at a 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock direction for it to reach at 12 o'clock. You cannot aim in the 12 o'clock direction thinking that it'll go there. It'll go
Right.
off. Yeah.
Wow. So it's a lot of mathematical calculations, speed check, distance check. So you can't be thinking of food when you are. I mean, you can, but then probably you will not be able to focus. So your concentration have to be very super conscious in what you do, because I did see some of your players when a couple of countries, we talked about it, right? We were talking a while, but uh, is it is it very tough to get this concentration there when you are there? You are fully focused. Is it something tough based on your experience?
No, like it's after a while, like any game, right?
Yeah.
After practice, after some uh, days, months of practice, you'll get the hang of it, and then it's just a matter of being more consistent. Pay attention to what you're doing, where you're standing, how you're standing, where your foot
Right.
is, and when you do you how big step do you take? Because you
Right.
initially when you stand, you are going to stand with 2 feet almost together or side by side, right?
Okay.
And one feet will you in like a walking motion, right? You one feet goes forward and then you roll deliver the ball to
Right.
reach. So these are yeah. You see, what if at one shot, if you were to tell somebody all of this, they're going to get confused. They're going to go away. You just have to start slowly and
Okay.
one at a time. You cannot tell them
Mm.
line, wait, stand this way, stand that
Mhm.
way, don't take a big step, do this, do that. So
Right.
slowly, okay, starts with maybe, okay, how
Mhm.
you deliver, you swing, never
Mm.
mind how you stand. Then the next time, okay, it's like how you stand. The
Right.
third occasion is like, okay, how big a step do you take? How small a step do you take?
Mhm. Mhm.
Then these adjustments will come in. So
Right.
eventually, by the time it took me like maybe a year to like figure all this out and to play a bit consistently. But even now, no matter how, as what there's a saying goes, it's easy to learn, but it's lifetime to master it. So even now, even the best players can get beaten because not
Right.
because they're bad, but because someone else plays well and they are focused and um, they, that's how it is. Like that's the challenge of the game.
But I got to confess this, viewers are watching. It will go to our Spotify. For me to focus, I think it'll be tough because my wife will say, "Hey, buy tomatoes and onion. And if you don't have no cooking, no food for you for dinner, so probably I cannot concentrate." If you put me into the gym, a coach and all that. As a coach, I do all those stuff. But I think concentration is something that it's beyond your mind, your body, because like I said, we talked about it, it's your speed, your distance, you're fully in the game, right? So it's your concentration is so much important in that. Thank you, Ganesh, for that. And of course, viewers who are joining us again, please do share and like, because we are, creating awareness on lawn bowls. And also, we're having an interview session with Ganesh Ramanathan, who's going to talk a lot about, what is lawn bowls about. And today's inclusive interview with a lawyer who's an advocate for sports. So, Ganesh, my next question is, of course, for viewers as well. What's in it for PWDS?
Okay, so bowls can be played by anyone of all ages and abilities. Really, you can start at age 6 or 7. There are smaller sized bowls for such persons. Obviously, they are not going to be able to reach 20, 30 meters. So obviously, they will start, introduction. You're not going to make them into a champion in 1 year. You will just want them to have fun. So there are smaller size bowls for them. You teach them the basics, let them have some fun
Right.
and get used to it, right? And then it continues, and you pick it up at 7. You pick it up at 70. We have a person with who's visually impaired who picked it up at the age of 74. That was 2 years back. At the age of 76 now, he's a medalist. So there's actually no age barrier to this sport. You can pick it up young, middle age,
Mhm.
older age, um, and 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 there's no difference because you know why? Because I mean, able-bodied, you stand, you deliver. If you're a wheelchair user, it's okay. You sit down, you're seated, you sit down, and you can and deliver your bowl because you're using your arm, right? The delivery is using arm, so you can sit down and do it. Vision, if you're like ambulant, there are guides. There are like what do you call that? The guide to help you to position
Mhm.
yourself. I wouldn't say it's a stick. There's a term for it. No, it just went off
Right.
my mind. You can use that support, right, to
Right.
support, and then with the other arm and with your leg positioned in certain manner, you deliver. Visually impaired persons, they actually pull a string in the middle of the ring, and visually impaired, so far we don't have someone who's totally blind. The few that we have, they can see, but they're very short, near distance, maybe 5 meters or so. So they can see something a closer distance. So the line gives them is a guide for them how to deliver. Of course, when it reaches the other side, they can't see. So that's why they need a person called a director to tell them, okay, look where your ball has landed. Is it like 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, before the jack, after the jack, and then the next one they
Right.
adjust it. So able-bodied persons with disabilities, it's not an issue. The age is also not an issue. You can pick it up.
All right, Ganesh. I mean, I know, of course, you the vice president starting from July 2023. So you have 2 years of promoting this game and to people out there as well. So those who are watching this at this point of time or hearing this, what is your creating of this awareness of these lone bulls? Because we spoke at the earlier part of this podcast. People are still thinking that, hey, you know what, this is a minimum 75 years old, then can go into it or venture it because for my retirement. But what we came to know is not right. It's going to be a lot of focus here. So what will your advice to people who are watching this and hearing this?
No, but before that, so that's why, because of that mindset. So a few of us went into the Bold Singapore Committee a few years ago. Not that the previous, I mean, people all the while we have been trying to get new persons interested to play, but the take-up rate was low for various factors. The outreach was maybe not there. A lot of people actually don't know the sport. Why? Because it is not played in many places. There are only like 3, 4 locations, venues that actually
Mhm.
uh, have a bowls green, and 2 of it are in private clubs. So if you're a member of the club, at cricket club or at Tanglin club, you
Right.
will know about the sport you can play. But public green, there's only one at Kallang. Then they built one at the Sports Hub. Then there's another one just recently built at Yang Kit. So because of the lack of venues, I suppose the awareness is not there. People don't know about the sport. Even if they know, they
Right.
just pass by, they see it, they don't really understand it, and then like what that perception or old folks,
Mhm.
old person game is there. But so lately, past 2 3 years, there's been a lot. There are some drivers within the Bolzenbach committee who have been driving this outreach. They really gone out, spread it out to all over, east to west, north, south. There are much more people who are playing now. So same with the now to do with the for the disabled, for the persons with disabilities. That's what we
Right.
need to do now. Reach out, introduce the game. Yeah, they may not know about it, but tell them, show them what it is, invite them to try it out, and hopefully they will like it and stay on and play it for long term.
Right.
Yeah.
So if people are interested to get to know about this game or to participate, where they can look for the locations?
Okay, I mean, two things. Able-bodied, you go out and check out Bowl Singapore's website. Disabled, parabolers, right, which is what I'm here for. Check out the Parabol Singapore website. If you're not sure, just type LBEDS or Parables Singapore. The details are there, but basically the place that we normally play, the players play at, is at Kallang
Right.
Bowls Green, which is next to the tennis and Kallang Tennis and Squash Center at
Right.
8 Stadium Boulevard. There's a
Right.
smaller one at Young Kid Playfield at Duxton, where the Pinnacle
Right.
is. That's another place, a smaller one.
Mhm.
So check out the websites for more information, and then you can contact us, and sure, we'll be more than happy. So in fact, some of the persons, right, with disabilities, you see, they also want to go to the next stage. They want to play, of course, but they also are keen to bring in the next lot, because you can't keep having the same 20, 30 people playing and then don't have the next lot, next generation coming. They are keen to be coaches to this next lot.
Right.
So there are sufficient people who will be interested to guide newcomers, persons with disabilities of all
Mhm.
sorts, hearing impaired, speech impaired,
Right.
um, vision impaired. The older players that we have, okay, previously, as you know, in 50s and 60s, polio was quite not say common, but there were a few number of people had polio then.
Mhm.
So there are some of our players, right, who were affected by polio, and they are playing this sport. So and then we would have a person who had a stroke before,
Right.
and then came across bowls and found it as a therapy. Actually, found it therapeutic,
Mhm.
right? And played it and continues to play it. So many different types of people we have, and we hope to reach out to. Yeah.
Right. And Ganesh, we are still in the interview and in the podcast, but what I was about to ask is, of course, as a vice pres, you have 2 years, but is there any challenges that you are facing? I mean, like what we talked about, as how young the player or the participant can be, or what is the age not so young? Is there a minimum and a maximum age for lone balls?
Actually, minimum, like I said, maybe okay. I mean, of course, too young. You basically need to grip the bowl, even if it's a small size.
Right,
6, 7 might be a good age because even the Malaysians, Malaysians they and Australians have introduced this sport to their schools,
right,
and from 7 onwards would be a good start. And there's
okay,
no ending age because pre-COVID we had people in their late 80s, 90s who
hmm,
played it, and I think they were. I mean, unfortunately, because during the lockdown they stopped coming, and health went down a bit. But we have quite a lot of people in the 80s, in the able side, even in the disabled side, we have people in the 70s playing. So
right.
there's actually no end age to it. Yeah.
Hmm.
The
Okay,
obstacles
so.
are in other modes, lah, not so much in getting, I mean, in the age
Mhm,
and abilities. Lah.
mhm. Okay, Ganesh, we talked about that, and of course, what is the plan? Is there some kind of a plan that you have for the next 2 years?
Actually, it's not 2 years. Actually, no, no. It's a 2 year term. It starts last
Okay,
year. There's an
right.
in between, roped in as upgraded to be a VP, which was left
Upgraded
vacant
again,
last year.
right?
it was it was conveniently left vacant last year for me to fill in at some point in time. There's another one
Okay,
year term, but of
right,
course, it's a 2 year term, and you can't just stop it because you have to um, carry on. Okay, the plan is basically three things: like outreach, reach out to more groups, individuals or groups, associations like the Association for the Visually Impaired, Association for the Hearing Impaired, and others. Right, reach out to them, introduce the sport to them, and individuals as well. I mean, if somebody friend, colleague, somebody
right.
you know, who's impaired, doesn't know what sport to play, but wants to be physically active, you can always rope them in. That's one thing.
Mhm,
Second thing is to rope in volunteers to help these people,
right.
uh, because when they play, like they need guy help to in various forms. One of it is, like as I said, the visually impaired persons need someone who's known as a director to guide them, to tell them, okay, look, where has your ball landed, how far it is, because otherwise you can't
Right.
accept these visually impaired persons bowl one, roll their first bowl, go there, check where it is landed, come back, bowl second one, come back, bowl a third one. That's not possible. That game will take, I think, 4 hours. So you need someone to guide them.
Right.
And of course, for management committee, there's always a space for someone
Mhm,
who's dedicated to help out. And the third plan is always, of course, the funding, to get more funds to help the association
right.
to serve its purposes. Yeah.
Thank you, Ganesh, for all the plans that you have talked about for the next 2 years. Viewers who are just joining us, thank you so much. We are live in YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook as well. Kopi events every Wednesday, 9 p.m. And today with me is Ganesh Ramanathan, who is a lawyer, but is talking a lot of the long balls, right? So we advocate for sports. So if you're watching this or hearing these, viewers, please do share and like, so that like what Ganesh has talked about, what is the plan, we the future for getting more players to come in and fundings as well. Ganesh, I know we talked about this, that you have been playing for almost 12 years. You have been in various committee positions. You've met various people in different works. How has this part of both impacted you? Because we know lawyers have a very tight schedule and long hours, probably less sleeping hours. I'm not sure. You have to correct me that. But I did hear also from you saying that this is a part of your release or stress release and kind of stuff. But how has these bowls have impacted you? I mean, apart from bringing out the awareness to a lot of people out there, either able or disabled, to engage into this sport to keep people healthy and fit. But how has that has impacted you?
Okay, so first when I first picked it up, obviously it was to to learn the sport, right? Idea is to, like I said, roll your ball closer to the jack, um, and then be consistent with it. But along the way, I found that actually that connection. You see, it's all about connection, connecting your ball to the jack. A little bit of some spiritual, in a spiritual sense,
Yes.
connection. You
Right.
connecting something, right? So that kind of resonated with me. So that's why I find it a bit. It's a good game to play, nice, and it gives you a
Mhm.
sense of what do you call it, something to connect with.
Right.
Uh, you win or lose doesn't matter. You play, you connect, you don't connect. I mean, you don't both go all over. Figure out why you went all over the place.
Mhm.
The next time you come, you do better. So that's impacted in that sense that that's it. That sense of connection. I find that this game, this sport, gave to me, and I hope it gives to people. And so that's why I would like to share it with people and to get them to be interested to play. It's not just about. I mean, when you first start, you have to tell them, okay, what is it about? Okay, you roll a jack, then you roll your ball and connect and reach as close as possible
Mhm.
to the jack.
Mhm.
But that's just step one. Along the way, okay, how do you move your opponent's ball? How do you promote your ball? How do you strategize all of that? So what does all that mean? All that means that you're trying to connect your ball to the intended target.
Mhm.
If people pick it up, that's great. So that's how it has impacted me in that sense.
Right. Thank you, Ganesh, for sharing how it has impacted you. Ganesh, for viewers to understand, we all know Ganesh Ramadan is a lawyer, but sir, we have not prepared any questions for you. All right. That's why it's all very spontaneous, right? You'll be
Yes,
able
I
to
know.
answer.
Sabotaged.
The backstage for viewers to know, Ganesh was actually asking me, "Hey, what are the questions, Vance?" I said, you don't need questions," because, because he will be always be answering and debating and presenting in the courtroom. So let's move from the spot into his profession. As lawyers, you guys are very good at speaking. So will you agree that you are very good at speaking?
No, it's a whole different world. As I've shared with you before, um, presenting a case before a judge is totally different from speaking in public. I've lately, okay, some other, another so-called impact or rather result that has come out by stepping
Mhm.
up in the role is really I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. Um, like just a couple of months ago, a kind soul, a friend, got me to, gave me an opportunity to speak during a Rotary Club meeting. I said, my
Right.
God, how many fellas are coming? Oh, 150, 150. I said, oh, that's too big. I speak, I no qualms presenting a case to a judge, two, three judges at one shot is
Right.
also
Right.
speaking to 50, 150 people. So I kept asking him. Then slowly the numbers reduced from 150 went to
Right.
150. So I was thinking, hey, can I get somebody else to present? He said, no, you are a lawyer. If you don't stand up for the association that you are in, who else will? Well, that
Right.
was like, wow. It's like
Okay.
self-explanatory slap, a wake-up slap on the face. I think, oh my God, I
Right.
can't have to do it. So that I did. And then a couple of weeks ago, to give an interview, or rather, I was asked whether I can be one of the interviewees for a program in Tamil.
Right.
So, wow.
Good.
Okay. So,
See,
okay,
it's
I
more
already
coming
did
up. More
one.
coming up.
Let's do another one. And now this. And now
Right.
this also, and you nicely don't give me the questions. So,
Right. I
yes.
know, I know. Even though Ganesh has more than 28 years of legal experiences, but of course, he's doing very well. So all the viewers, please give him a clap, at least a emoji, a sign, to encourage him. You can see a little nervous there. But of course, if you're going to put me into the courtroom and present to the judge, I'll be like, they were totally different, right? This is my jungle, and that's your jungle.
Yes,
But
exactly.
Ganesh, also we talking about this your profession as well, and of course we need to understand where you come from, which law you represent, and which firm you are representing, and so on and so forth. So our viewers will know that as well.
Okay, basically, the early years I started off doing general work. I included criminal matters, family matters, general litigation work, basically court work.
Right,
Over the past 22 years or so, I've been specializing more in personal injury matters, road traffic
right.
accident cases. Right, you act for the claimants, you get compensation for them. Of course, I do contract matters, draft agreements, wills, do probate
Mhm.
matters, things like that. But generally, it's a litigation work, which means
Right,
court work. Yeah.
right. Just going to hold you there first before we continue with Ganesh. For viewers, we have two sets of questions that you can ask. One is about his profession. If you have anything, something to want to ask him about legal, if it's appropriate question, I would definitely will bring it to him. And again, the long balls. If you want to know about the game, where you want to start, you can also start posting your questions, because we have already engaged 40 minutes with Ganesh, so we still have 20 more minutes. He's more relaxed. He's more composed. You have already done three interviews, given interviews. So if you're watching this and if you want to engage Ganesh on a particular question, please do so, because we want to give him all the boost, because there's more talk segments and discussions going to come up for Long Bowls and for Ganesh as well. Being the vice pres since last year, he had his plans, which he talks about, creating awareness, financials, and also for the game, which are going to come in more. So, Ganesh, let's continue where you stopped. So, you're talking about, you were a criminal lawyer and so on and so forth. What else? So, what firm are you representing at the moment?
I'm with the firm called Karupan Chettiar and Partners.
Right,
Is my father-in-law actually, but his early days he started off at a firm called Murphy and Dunbar.
right,
That was a bigger firm. They were well known in this area of practice. So, and I've been with this firm from 2002. So, been there since then. Of
right.
course, my wife is the partner there, is my boss.
The
So
boss.
it's just the two of us, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Wait,
Earlier we had more lawyers, but
is your
now
boss? Is your boss watching this right now?
I, I think so.
Okay, you got to be very careful, huh? If not, no tea time. Actually, dinner.
Absolutely.
Are you done with dinner already?
Yes.
Okay, then you can tomorrow can convince. Never mind. Just say you are very good at communication, right? You will able to convince her. Okay. Viewers, we still have another about 10 more minutes. Thank you for watching this. We have a very steady pool of more than 25 people watching this at the moment. We will be live at Spotify as well. We'll be posting in Spotify and Apple Podcasts. All you need to do is copy with Vance, and you can able to hear this interview, which is interview with a lawyer who is an advocate for sports. And apart from that, we are live in LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube as well every Wednesday 9 p.m. We are still going on. So if you have a particular question, which I can see the questions are coming up already, which is good, Ganesh, because the moment I say we can ask two questions, two sets of questions, one for the game and one for your profession, the questions are popping up. So let's take one first question here. How can lawn bowls benefit millennials?
I think the millennials need to learn how to chill and play. I think,
Right,
yeah, they need to. I mean, like I said, actually, it's a sport for all age groups. Well,
right,
I'm a Gen X, I think. So
right,
whoever it is, you can start. Never too
right,
late to start. Never too late to finish. And like I said, there are three categories basically. It's just what I
right.
learned from my seniors at cricket club. One is the totally social group. They are just happy to come play,
Mhm.
socialize, have a drink after the game, and go off. The other group is the very competitive ones. They
Right,
want to. They are very dedicated. They're they want to represent the country,
Right.
so take part in all the competitions. And then the third group is the ones in between. They are
Mm.
happy to come and play, and they're happy to take part in some of the local competitions, but not overly.
Mm.
They're not so excited about being a national player. And I think I belong in that middle category. I'm happy to come play. Basically, it's for my
Right.
own uh, fitness, or at least because you, like I said, a game of 2 hours. You come, you play, you sweat it out, and it's a game that you
Mhm.
can actually play by yourself. Go to
Right.
the green. If somebody is there, you join them. If not, you have a bowl. So you have take a mat, take a jack, roll it up and down, half an hour, 1 hour, sweat it out,
Mhm.
and go off. And take part in, and if you're happy, take part in some competitions. Um, so anyone can pick it up.
Thank you for that, Ganesh. And of course, AG, right? How can lawn bowls benefit millennials? Of course, you see nowadays kids are always on the phone, like that, right? With all
Exactly.
these social media platforms, we're like getting them glued. And of course, with technology, we are getting better, of course, but sometimes technology is dropping away the child
Yes.
in us, even for adults, right? But Ganesh is proving it wrong, right? And even at the age of what, Ganesh, you are now what, 35?
58. 58.
You're 58.
Uh,
All right. So I'm
Told you I
expecting
born
a
in 65, so yeah, I'm 58.
okay.
And this, yeah, you're right about these millennials. They are always on the phone, so they need some sunlight. You should get out there, get some sunlight,
Right.
an hour, 2 hours,
Mhm,
sweat it
mhm.
out. Yep.
And Ganesh, as we take this AG's question, for 2 hours you mentioned the game, right? So for 2 hours, I'm not going to able to see my mobile phone. At least because unless you go for your breaks and keep coming in and out. But if you're in competitions or if you're training for the national teams, you got to be focused, right? I mean, that
Absolutely.
away disengaged away from the your mobile devices. I think that's a good game to
Absolutely. So when I play, my phone is in
yeah,
my bag.
right,
And sometimes after the game, I mean, you
right,
don't bother to check the phone. Then after that, you'll
right,
find some messages. And what's worse is some of it comes from your family. And then they're
right,
asking you, later you contact them and they say, why did you read my message earlier? Why did you pick up my
right,
calls? I'm playing.
yeah,
So, well, the phone goes into my bag and I take it out only when I'm totally done.
right.
So that's the other thing. Get away from all these
But but
gadgets.
but but hang on a second. Don't be so convinced because your boss is watching this,
I know, right?
which is your better half. Okay, madam, if you're watching this, okay, Ganesh, for 2 hours he's playing the game, but it's good. But also, Ganesh, do you see families coming together? Like husband is coming in supporting the wife, or wife is coming to support, kids, children. Do you see the family connection over the past few months or a year that you have taken the
Not even
role?
months, yes. Even from the beginning, this is one spot where actually, when I was in SEC, I mean, I'm still
Right,
am in SEC, but when I was in the committee there, I, I once did a search, and there were at least 12 couples who were members of the lawn
mm,
bowl section, and by any standards, 12 couples, it means 24 players, right? Husband, wife. You don't. I think very few other sports you have so many couples playing, and regular players. They're not just putting the names there. They come, they play regularly, even now. So that's one thing. Um, you, husband, wife, even some of them, maybe I think the next generation is picking up. So it's a game for anyone, family, friends, um, all.
right. We got to talk a little bit on the. Of course, we have to give the spotlight to your players who recently went overseas. Can we talk a little bit of that? And I know we got some medals, so can we just talk about that a little bit, that Ganesh?
Sure. Okay, earlier on in July, a group of them went to Bangkok to play in a competition called the Thailand Open.
Right,
Uh, it we had one player who won gold in that category. Okay, so maybe I should explain. Okay, so there are a couple of categories. One category is for the visually impaired, right? They have B1.
right.
So they have categories 1 to 8, and 4 of it is for the visually impaired. 4 of it is for the those with physical disabilities. So among the visually impaired, the categories depends on the uh, on your eyesight, how far you can see. So,
Mhm.
and you have a person, right, a certifier to certify your so-called impairment. So you participate with against those within that group, like B1, for example, right? All those with B1 will play in that category, B2 against each other, B3, B4. And then okay, I cannot recall now which one, whether 1 to 4 is for the impaired or 5 to 8, but
Right.
whichever way. So 5 to 8, the other group is for the uh, physically disabled, okay, the wheelchair, because some may have arm amputated
Right.
or deformed or paralyzed or semi, affected with cerebral palsy
Mhm.
persons, stroke persons. So they have categories. So when you play in your categories, right? The category that you've been certified with. So we had a person winning gold, another one won silver, and a third one won bronze.
Mhm.
JJ, he's got cerebral palsy. He won gold medal in his category.
Right.
Um, as James Joseph and Farida and Mahendran, Mr. Mahendran is a visually
Right.
impaired person. He won silver in his category, and Farida, she won a bronze in her category.
Mhm.
I hope I'm correct.
Right.
Okay.
But you
And
know,
recently, no, then coming to the other one, the World Bowls. Okay. So we have the equivalent of the World Cup for football,
right.
rugby. And that. So World Bowls was held in Australia in September, just recently.
Mhm.
And they actually combined they had the parables together with the able-bodied bowls at similar
Right.
time, one after the other, not like what is happening in the Asian Games. So they
Okay.
had it, but the parables players finished off first.
Right.
So our team of Kurban Muhammad and Maujit Singh, otherwise known as Gordon, they took part in the men's para pairs competition and won a joint bronze medal. So that's
Right.
quite an achievement compared first time, and actually first time for it was an inaugural kind of event actually. So that's was quite very commendable actually against 11 other teams and against powerhouses. They even beat Scotland, who apparently won the Commonwealth pairs title in last year's Commonwealth Games. So next coming up shortly, next 22nd to 28th of October is the Asian Para Games.
Right.
Five parabolers are going up and playing in various disciplines. And Kerman, Gordon, Farida, Mahindran, and JJ, they're going up.
Wow. I mean, future give them the appreciation as well in ahead of the game. I know the players should be playing very hard and practicing it, and also it's good to see that they are feeling appreciated as well. Representing Singapore and Singapore Lawn Bowls Association of the disabled, but of course they didn't use disable as a permanent structure or permanent barrier in front of them. They broke the barrier and then they went overseas and they do what they could and even provided more than what they could. So that is great appreciation for them and for the players and also for your association as well, Ganesh. Viewers who are watching this, we have another 5 more minutes to for Ganesh. We are still taking some questions. I know there are some questions already coming in. You can ask him both. One is about the sport, the lawn bowls. Another one is about his profession. He's now more relaxed. He's more confident right now doing podcasts. It's not that he's not able to communicate. He's the best communicator in the courtroom. But he mentioned earlier that when he's doing podcast interviews, he feel a little controlling. But I told you I'm not preparing any questions for him because he's just off guard. He can just say whatever you want to. All right. I'm going to take this question, Ganesh. I got two questions that came in. One from Veena. Hi, Veena. So, in one sentence, how will you convince someone to play lone bowls?
In one sentence. Wow.
Yeah, one sentence. Tough, huh? Not me. So he always asked.
That's
Come
a
on,
good.
Ganesh. The judge is waiting. Come on. Your judge is Veena.
If you want to sweat it out a bit and play a strategic and yet play a strategic game, okay, come play lawn bowls.
Okay, Vina answered. Okay, thank you for that, Vina and Ganesh. Okay, Yusuf Kim, what are some lessons from lawn bowls you bring into your professional life? You're more focused, more steady, more know what's going to happen in the next 30 seconds, 1 minute. What is your the lessons learned?
Interesting. Actually, used to be a bit more chill a bit, relax, be a bit more calm. Um, because in a game, right, if you play in a competitive game, somebody has to win, obviously, somebody has to lose. So if you take it like, that it's not about winning or losing, but it's about doing your best, right? So take it to your professional life, same thing. So in a court, in your case, actually in a case, it's all about the evidence, the facts of the case. So it's not about so much of you, whether I'm a good lawyer or the other person is a good lawyer. So you
Mhm.
do your best, present your case is how you play your game, um, and then just leave it at that. Because earlier on, of course, the early years of the profession, of course, you're very passionate. You always want to win. You think that then if you think that you lose the case, if the judgment goes against you, or actually it's not
Mhm.
against you, it's against your client, you get upset and all that. But actually, it's not, because at the end of the day, it's all about the evidence, right? What evidence is there? How the
Right.
evidence has come out beforehand, how during the hearing, how the judge sees it, and how the other side
Mhm.
has performed. So then over the years, of course, that uh, you mellow down a bit. So this sport also helps you further mellow down and just take it as doing your best, be it in your
Mhm.
professional sport.
Or maybe
And
it's the energy, the vibration, because when you're playing these lawn bowls, you have to be focused. There's no need to rush. Everything else stops. You're just focused on your game. Is that something that I'm coming to the answers? Is it one of the reasons why these games make you very calm? You can't get angry, right? Have there anybody got angry? Oh, break the tennis
the
or
one, the
squeeze
one
the
who
ball
gets
and
angry usually doesn't win. It's quite simple as that. It's quite
yeah,
a game that you need to be calm, because if you're not calm, you can't deliver with the correct strength and line. Yeah, so you have to be. Actually, it works both ways. Like profession brings certain things into sports. Sports brings certain things into your profession. So, because similarities with the profession and the sport is that okay, both need preparation. See, like right at the beginning, okay, I have to prepare my case
right.
to go. You got to think that it's going to go to court. Somewhere
Hmm.
along the way, it gets settled, well and good. If it doesn't, then you go to court. So you strategize your case. Then when you once you go to court, it becomes a different thing. It's kind of a little bit out of your hand, because then it
Right.
works on okay how the cross examination works, how the witness performs.
Hmm.
Same thing with the sport. So before you enter, let's say a competition, right? You prepare, you practice, you play, you strategize and all that. But in the sport, unlike the profession, to me at least,
Hmm.
the strategy continues in the game because you still strategize.
Right.
It's not so much about how your opponent plays, it's about how you can do better, how you can. If the opponent's ball goes and touches the jack and sits there, you just figure out a way how you can do the same, how you can move his ball out of the, move away from the jack, move the jack away from his ball.
Right.
So the strategy continues in the game until the very last ball is
Mhm.
delivered. In the profession, it kind of after a while you strategize, then maybe you re-strategize at the end of the day. So
Right.
some similarities, some differences. Yeah.
All right, Ganesh, thank you so much for that. Now you will go to the next question. Your Honor, Ganesh has a question to be answered here. Big fan of your work. Any tips for aspiring lawyers? You see, now we come to your profession already. We talk about the sports. Now we come to your profession. Now we are talking all about your profession right now. See, a big fan, Ganesh. You got big
Wondering whether
fans.
this is from my one of my family members.
Oh, is it?
Big
Oh,
fan. I don't know who's a big fan of my
oh,
work.
good. Yeah.
Any tips for aspiring lawyers?
Yeah.
Yes. Make sure you want to be a lawyer for the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come in for the money.
Mm-hmm.
Come in because you want to. I mean, actually, there are so many areas. Like litigation is one of it. Like what the court work, right? So many things nowadays. You got banking, finance, or conveyancing, or family work, criminal work, all sorts of other areas of work. Make sure
Mhm.
you are prepared, right? At least in the beginning, make sure you're prepared to work hard and then work smart, and make sure that you are doing it for the right reason, lah. Not It's not for the money.
Okay, little. We already got Ganesh answered for that. Now we have few eyes that's coming in. Hi, Sofan. And Zoe Lim, hi. Thank you so much for all the messages that's coming in. So yeah, Ganesh, you see, you want to believe this. It's almost 1 hour, right?
Yep.
Just now
Mm.
when Ganesh came in, Ganesh is not, he's been talking for the past 28 years as a lawyer, right? Or more than that. But, he's never fear, he doesn't have fear, presenting in court. But, when you do podcasts and interviews, he mentioned earlier, it's very nice of him to, show his a little weakness that, he got this fear. But now look at him. He's so relaxed. He's able to answer questions. And he's like, we can go for another 1 more hour, Ganesh. What do you think about that?
I think
Season two,
the
part two.
25 people watching might get bored. It might,
But
the
no, we are
numbers
not
will drop.
reducing the numbers. The numbers are still staying there. Thank you so much. So, guys, we are almost coming to the end of the podcast at Kopi with Vance. But before we end the podcast, any wisdom advices to the people on the both side? Since people ask you questions from the profession as well as the sport, for both questions, we're going to ask you one each.
Professional side, like I said, okay, simply, I mean, talking about being a lawyer, make sure you know what you want, what you want to do, what you want to get out of it, and then go with it and do that. So that's a bit more simpler.
Right.
Uh, Actually, sports, any sport, firstly, pick it up, enjoy it. Do it for a healthy lifestyle, active lifestyle. It's actually a stress reliever, right? Especially for those who spend long hours sitting, having a sedentary life, sedentary work. And that's exactly why I picked it up at the age of 46, after like some 10 years of, okay, why I even stopped playing games for a while was because I had playing street football or football on a basketball court. I tore my meniscus. Right after the initial period of recovery, went back. After a couple of times, again the knee snapped. Then I
Right.
realized, no, like, actually, this is maybe I have to. You can't really continue playing football. So then, of course, then you start just doing walks and other things, playing slow games, until I picked up bowls. Actually, bowls you might think, because of you are bending, you might think that
Mhm.
actually the knee is affected, but actually it's not. And because it's quite gentle, it's a slow, uh, gentle motion movement. So it's not strenuous. Those who have any injuries and all that, you can safely come to play bowls. You will enjoy it, and or play whatever other games that you like. But like, since I'm here representing bowls, come for it, and especially the para bowlers. I mean, those who have some disabilities or impairment, do enjoy it for because it gives you interaction. You play with others, right? You interact.
Right.
There's some social bonding thereafter. Then you're competitive. Well, you join the national team and go forward. Like, you can take inspiration from this lot of people who are continuing to play, continuing to train. 76-year-old man, and now going to, I think he's the oldest, actually, it came on the papers, the oldest of our para athletes for the Asian para games coming up. He looks fit. He keeps fit. So age is not an impairment, and enjoy it. Whatever sport, pick up bowls, try it out. You like it, and so just to round up, thank you, Vance, for hosting me here, and to all those of you out there listening, take your wallets, leave it at home. Just bring your MRT card, whatever the card that you use for your transport. Take MRT or bus, come down to get off at either Stadium Station or Mountbatten Station, take a walk to Kallang Green, get off at the bus stop nearest to the Kallang Green, come, play, meet our inspiring
Right.
players, try it out, and then you will know what it's about. It's only then you will know that whatever I say now, you might not understand what it's just about. That reaching the jack and this and that, and then go back and join one of the clubs or parables and continue to play.
Someone earlier told me is very not say nervous, but not very comfortable in podcasts. First time doing. But now
Not
look at
me,
him.
right?
He just finished my last closing part for Kopi with Vance. He closed it. Wow. Well, so nice, Ganesh. Thank you so much, Ganesh. I mean, on a serious note, I mean, put a 1 hour of a tight schedule of work-life balance, and of course, your boss. You have to convince your boss that 1 hour you have to be in the room. Apart from your work, you have to do all those stuffs as well. Thank you, boss, for watching this, for your greatest support, so that Ganesh can contribute to the society, not only for the able-bodied but also for the physically challenged, to take part in sport and to keep them into a community. We talked a lot about this, and it's all in our podcast, in Apple Podcasts, as well as Spotify as well, Candice. And thank you so much, Ganesh. We will definitely connect again for a strong cup of coffee, and the chat continues. Thank you so much, Ganesh.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. All right. Oh, sorry. Okay, so that's why Ganesh takes a leave. Okay, so thank you so much, viewers. One of the very interesting topic that we talked today, and I've been with Lawn Bowls Singapore Association for the past 3 months. I've been coaching their team. We want to create an awareness of these amazing players. Actually, in my own terms, I will never want to call them disabled, because that's how I always believe, because it's always something in them. Physically challenged. A lot of us, we give excuses, we give a lot of challenges, we complain, we get a lot of chaos happening. But there's one thing that I learned from these players, what were physically challenged, whatever situation they may be. I look up upon to them, right? With that, they're coming into sports. With that, they're breaking the challenges, whatever that is thrown upon them. I think that's a very strong message that we can actually learn from these players as well. And of course, we talked about things that this game is not only for the 75, 80. No, we as young as 9 years old, 10 years old, that involves a lot of concentration and focus. And of course, you can't be looking at your phone as well. And to be very honest, I have not started playing this game yet, but I think I need a lot of concentration as well, which you need to, because you have to be super focused in this particular game. So thank you, viewers. I know you have shared and liked as well. So if you just come in, please do press the share and like button, because we want to reach out to more people out there who can actually understand, and we want to create an awareness of what is this all about of lawn bowls and the game, right? This is your Vance, Kopi Vance, right? Every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Catch us on Kopi Vance, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We are live in Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And this show is complimentary, which means you can just click in and watch it every Wednesday, 9 p.m. I have different guests, speakers, professionals, just like Ganesh, who come in and give their most valuable advices in their professional as well as their balance, work-life balance. They talked about it. So I'll catch you again on the next topic, which is coming up next Wednesday. Till then, be good, drink lots of water, and as my favorite word, adios, amigos.